Thank you all for coming. And for the people for the first time, this is the NZ office, if you've never been here before. So this is the D&I launch event, the Diversity and Inclusion launch event.
In terms of, diversity, we have a lot of different backgrounds, any way you want to measure that. And it's really important that we are very inclusive in everything we do, which ranges from having the right people in the right meetings, people feeling like they can comment on stuff to make it a better workplace and what we're producing for our customers.
When I was applying to EROAD, one of the things I loved the most was the careers website, especially because I saw where many EROADers come from, their hobbies, their stories. And when I saw the map as well in the kitchen room, I thought that was a brilliant idea. We are proud of our people, we're proud of where they come from, so many places.
When I was studying differential equations at university, one thing I really got hung up on was traffic flow. And like, how would you model that? And when I saw the listing for EROAD, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to do math. But so maybe it's not like that, but it is a place where I feel that I can be creative and just be excited about my job.
And if we have any sort of prejudice or bias in this business to anyone, be it religious, sexual orientation, nationality, it's just unacceptable.
We had a really diverse senior leadership team, some really strong personalities, and I actually feel out of that kind of diversity that enabled us to grow from a startup to the business we are today. I'm delighted that I'm for the first time in my life working in a technology team over there, which is led by a woman. Kudos, Anne, Jose, wherever she is. And sometimes I'm at a stand-up, and there's actually more women than men, which is the first time in my life I've ever been in that environment.
Introverts are quite good in writing, so you can communicate to them very well by sending messages or emails or stuff like that. But it's a bit harder to communicate in person, and that's just a different communication style. There's nothing wrong with that. It usually gets a bit harder when you're in different roles, like when you get to managerial kind of roles. This in EROAD, I've been thankfully promoted to be the software development manager, and that's actually the third time in my career that I'm promoted from developer to a manager position. And I think I have learned to communicate in different ways, but it's usually harder for an introvert to get onto those roles. So just keep in mind that if you right now have two people next to you, chances are one of them is an introvert, unless you are the introvert, of course. So it's good to have these people in your teams.
And I don't want to understate that because for me, it's not always easy to feel like I fit in. And what I will say is EROAD's a place where I don't care if people know that I'm transgender or that I have a male partner or that kind of thing. Like I feel like completely fine saying that, and yeah, that's not something I would say anywhere. So when I think about diversity and inclusion in EROAD, the first thing that comes to mind is EROADers genuinely care about each other and want to see each other do well. And there's always room for improvement, there's always a way to expand the initiative, but the most important thing to me is that we value collaboration, and I believe that we have the right mindset to take teamwork to the next level.
One colleague said to me last week, why do we need diversity and inclusion at EROAD? And reflecting on it, for me, two things: complacency and aspiration. So it's easy to become complacent, to think, yeah, we're so cool, we're all diverse, we all love one another, etc., etc. But I think we need to continually hold ourselves to the highest standard to think, am I talking over someone, or perhaps not listening to them because they're softer spoken, they are an introvert, or they talk in a different accent, and it's a little bit harder to understand them. these are the things we can ask ourselves, right? And I ask myself too. When we're looking to promote or to employ people, do we look for people who fit the mold, the young gun, the silver fox? Or are we actually truly looking at people's abilities and what they do, not just having some view in our mind of what that person, you know, should be, or discounting people because of physical disabilities, etc. And secondly, aspiration. So when we talked at, I think, one of our early D&I meetings, we said, hey, what is our aspiration here? And we came up, we want to be a beacon of D&I for Auckland and even New Zealand and beyond. Because it's not, I mean, Stephen's always held us to a high standard that can be really tough sometimes and challenging, but it's not enough to be good enough. We should be better than the rest.
I'm really a career student. I love math. I like going home and coding. I've been at university since I was 16, and I'm 30 now. And I think I'm just a damn career student. Like that's how my life's going to be. But I mean, it's something that's really important that I enjoy doing. It's my hobby, which is weird, but there you have it. You know, it's like half of my life, right? So like in a previous life at a different company, I was advised, you know, don't talk about being a student. What kind of perception would that give? Would that give you the impression that like you value your studies more than your work? And I'm sitting there thinking, well, people go home and work on their cars in a garage. I don't see how this is different. But I mean, it is something really important to me, and I feel that EROAD again is a place I can be myself and share my hobbies. So. You know, it's something that I can come in and share and get excited about, and people are like, okay, you're off doing your thing, and that's fine. And just like anything else, I feel like I can be myself, and I'm really happy to share that.
Thank you.
I really recommend not trying to fit in, but instead just be yourself. We want to be able to bring ourselves to work. In reality, you should be yourself in work, at home, and in everything you do. Be brave to show yourself as you are. It's not always easy. I know we all want to feel included, and we all try to fit in. And it's easier to fit in when you're trying to be conventional. But how about we do something a little less conventional? I love metal, hard rock metal music. And when I was young, I used to be in those kind of concerts. And I would still do, but I don't have time because I have kids now. But yeah, that's just another way of defining myself. So don't be afraid of being yourself, of showing yourself as you are. If you like different hairstyle, just do it. If you have a different accent, don't be afraid of it. If you have tattoos, don't be afraid to show them. Just be yourself wherever you are. If you want others to trust you, to be your friend, or even to fall in love with you, then be yourself, be authentic, and most importantly, make sure that other people feel comfortable to be themselves around. And that's all I got. So thank you very much.
So we can be that beacon on the hill. We can actually, not just even within our own walls, question ourselves and examine our own biases to make sure we have a great environment here. But one of our aspirations is also to reach out into the community, work with the women in road transport, work with the She Sharp, work with other groups, and actually kind of affect a broader change, especially in technology and in tracking. In fact, we work in two fairly undiverse areas typically. So we have the opportunity, I believe, at EROAD to be that light on the hill. Thank you.
So instead of a few people doing lots and lots of events, we want lots of people doing
one small event. So Saski is a great example. Yeah. You want to talk about your event you came up with last year?
Yeah, we did a push-up challenge, which was really good. About 15 to 20 people stick like from the first day to the end, which was really nice. And then we went from 1 push-up to 50 in about a month. Yeah. Almost. And then we also tried to do plank challenge, but just due to space constraints, it's on hold. But we'll do it very soon.
But the key is when an EROADer comes up and has the enthusiasm of an idea and generates that enthusiasm through the event, it's really successful, isn't it? So,
it's really good.
And Aaron's going to talk to you about leaning as well.
Yep. So 2 quick announcements to follow up with being an introvert and sharing about DNI. If we want to have a discussion about DNI in a minute here, if you're too shy to do so, we have posters like this. So what do you think? Things like that. There's a space to write in your thoughts, and we'll be collecting those and looking at them. So no matter who you are, there's an opportunity to get your voice in there. One thing that's coming that I'm super excited about is we want to have lean-in circles. So lean-in is a global initiative. Essentially it's both a peer mentoring group and it's a way to learn to lead oneself. So kind of self-leadership and how does that propel you in your career. What you do is you get people in a group, and that's your group of peer mentors, 5 to 8 people. And so the Lean-In is a book written by Sheryl Sandberg. So it's one person's perspective, one person's experiences, but I think there's content in there for everybody. So don't be afraid to get co-ed and join in and speak up. So we'll have more information about that. But I'm definitely going to join one. I hope I see you in there too.
Thank you everyone for your attention. This is the start of a journey for us, and hopefully over time we will prove to be one of the best employers in the country because of this initiative. It will be holistic as well as systematic. An example of that is when you look at our job ads, we may not get all the diversity that we want. Some of our ads may have a bias in it just because of how it's written, so it might put ladies off wanting to come and work here because of some of the language. It might put off certain other groups. We need to make sure that we think about things in a very structured way to make sure that we aren't showing any kind of bias. I suppose the other side of that is that if we actually build up a lot of trust around this topic of diversity and inclusion, when it does look like bias from a particular group, when it's not, it's just a cultural difference, then hopefully there's trust and the goodwill to go and have that conversation so we don't end up becoming a PC group to the point where we don't talk at all. So that we're in this PC society which is about, well, we shouldn't say that and we shouldn't say this. And that's because there's not the goodwill or trust there, and everyone jumps straight to being offended. So if we can address that and have those conversations on the basis that there's no intention to be biased or offending anyone, then we will make good progress on our diversity and inclusion, because there will be natural differences in terms of how we structure sentences and say things, how an introvert, which I am an introvert, I find it very difficult speaking in public. Being dyslexic as well means my written word is sometimes not where it needs to be, but I'm great at maths, so that's a savings grace. So, I think we are all different. That's fantastic. It means we're going to have and do have a great business, but we can actually perform at a higher level if we can bring everything together and people feel very engaged and safe, that people are empowered, people have the opportunity to learn and progress in their careers. So to me, this is the start, and the challenge is to everyone here is to take that next step. So thank you, everybody.